Hello, and welcome to In Plain English, where we're going to talk about complicated concepts in as simple terms as possible and try to make some of these concepts clearer. So we've been talking about cryptocurrency a lot. The world has been talking about cryptocurrency a lot. And we talked about Bitcoin a little bit. And this week I'm going to talk about one of the altcoins, which is an alternative to Bitcoin, which is called XRP. And XRP is a coin that is created and run by a company called Ripple. So a lot of times you'll hear them used interchangeably, XRP and Ripple, but really Ripple is the company and XRP is the coin that they use. So XRP is not actually a direct competitor to Bitcoin. They have different target markets, and most of the Bitcoin, and in fact most of the crypto community, really does not approve of XRP and their concept. Crypto was initially developed as a very decentralized currency, so it's a community of people that nobody reports to a big bank. They all are just a community with each other, and the bank is left on the outside over here. So that's kind of the major founding principle behind crypto. But what Ripple did is they took the blockchain technology and they recognized that this is going to be a major concept going forward into the future, that this concept won't go away. But they think essentially that the banks should be involved in that, and shouldn't be left out in the cold, so that the banks will still have to be a part of the future. And so the concept of having a decentralized, totally decentralized peer-to-peer network is great, and they're not really against that, but they don't think that the current financial system is going to be totally overthrown by Bitcoin. They think that blockchain will play a role, but that it's going to play a role in the current system and not overthrow the current system. So the difference is they created a coin, just like Bitcoin is a coin, and they created XRP. They learned a little bit from Bitcoin and recognized their struggles with scalability and volatility, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But so what they did was just created 100 million. So they created 100 billion Bitcoin, and they're going to use that as a transactional. It would just be like if some bank said, okay, we're going to create $100 billion, and they use the XRP coin just the way that you would use a dollar. So it's an exchange of value between banks. Now, or between people, could be between people as well. But to talk about kind of XRP's main competitor, I mentioned XRP does not compete with Bitcoin. Their main competitor is the current SWIFT network. SWIFT network has been the way that financial institutions exchange value, kind of, since the late 1970s. So they all trade money back and forth via this SWIFT network, which is really just a message sent from one to the other. So, for example, if you want to send money to Europe, and what you would do is send money to your bank, and then they send money to their bank. So you send it, and say you're in the U.S., you send it in U.S. dollars. The bank then transfers the message across the SWIFT network saying that there's going to be a transaction and a change of funds, but it needs to be in euros for the person receiving it. So this bank either gets it and transfers it to euros, or this bank gets it in dollars over here and transfers it to euros. But ultimately it's going to go to the consumer in euros. So each bank has to have a certain supply of different worldwide currencies, or they have to go across this SWIFT network and deal with exchange rates and exchanges and confirmation, again, that this person has the money to send, that this bank has the money, has the ability to process that transaction, that this bank has the money and ability to process that transaction. And so it's a lot of exchange of fiat currencies and a complicated, generally a 3 to 5 day process of verification. So the Ripple CEO always says that it's 2017 right now, and the fastest way to get money to your friend in Europe is not to send it digitally, but it's to get on an airplane and fly to Europe and hand him a little bag of money. And that would be literally the fastest way to transfer those assets from one to the other. And he thinks that that's ridiculous, that we're in the digital age, and so we should have a digital system, an internet of value is what they call it, so that value and assets can be transferred to each other as quickly as possible. So XRP is their way to do that, to provide liquidity and kind of a common currency worldwide. So you can transfer US dollars into XRP, you can transfer euros into XRP, you can transfer any kind of currency, South African rand into XRP. So that way, all the banks could have a store of XRP, and if you pay in US dollars, your bank, they can convert that to XRP and then send that XRP instantly to the other bank, which can then convert it to whatever they want, or leave it in XRP and pay their client. So it's an instant transaction of digital currency. So that's Ripple's theory for the future, and in the next video we'll talk a little bit more kind of about how that works. But that's the basis behind the Ripple theory and its differences from Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in plain English. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll talk more about this in next week's video.